Hello guys, Tuditor here once again, this time around with the build guide. It is long overdue. I waited so much because I wanted to basically have a character that is, let's say, capable of doing all content, but in my case I can do most content. I will get into that later. However, this character is basically what I consider to be like the best necromancer class, let's say, because you can summon a whole lot of minions. As you can see, I have like 20 something minions over here. I'll go into them really soon. And let's start it off. So the character that I chose is Gemling Legionnaire, basically. It's a mercenary Gemling Legionnaire, and I will show you why. We go directly to the ascendancy points, and what is very, very nice about Gemling Legionnaire is the fact that you get quality to all skills, and then you get a +2. This is basically +2 to the level of all minions. It's all of them have int, so this is very, very nice to have. On top of all this, what is also amazing and what makes him a very good minion build character is this one, gem studied, and it means you can use each type of support gem an additional time in different skills. In my case, I have 2 damage dealers, I have 2 carries over here, and they are both using mostly the same support gems. In this case we have some changes, these guys help with clear, we will see later. Alright, and on top of that we also have the attribute requirements of gems can be satisfied by your highest attribute. This means that you can use a tame beast without having to invest a single point into dexterity and have it not die and follow you around and be the same level as your other minions, right? In my case, I have a whole lot of army over here, and the main idea of the build is to overwhelm the enemy with your numbers and basically with the damage. What enables this build, like as you can see, most of my stuff that is dealing damage is attacker based. A spectre that I use is the Val Excoriator. These guys are not exceptional by all means, they are kind of decent. They're not like top 10 specters, let's say, but I really like them a lot because they basically jump very fast and very often into the enemy packs, and you will see why these ones are very, very good on the build. And why do I play with attacker builds? As you can see over here, we are using the War Banner. Now you might wonder, how the hell are you using War Banner if you're not using attacks, right? Because it says while active, killing enemies with attacks or standing near a unique enemy generates valor. We are not attacking, we don't have any attacks, right? However, we are using this beautiful unique armor that enables necromancers and summoners to place banners. How this unique item works is basically, it says banners always have maximum valor. In my case, as you can see, I also corrupted the piece and we got -16 to maximum valor. So this should be like the negative stat. You want -16 is the perfect one that you can get because the corruption can go as low as that, as -16. So you want as much valor as you can because you will always have the maximum stacks. So what you need to do basically with the War Banner, as you can see I have magnified effect, expands, so we have a more area of effect. It has a bit of cooldown, it doesn't matter. We have persistence as well, and we have ingenuity. So when you place the banner, the area is kinda huge, see? And you have maximum of 54 War Banner stacks. These stacks say that you have more attack damage and increased accuracy. Now let's have a look how this affects our minions. Let's look for example on our Val Excoriator and check their basic attack. This is their damage without using the War Banner. And their accuracy as well. Where is the accuracy? Accuracy is over here, right? They have 1.4k accuracy. Alright, let's place the banner. Damage goes up to 17k, so that's nearly 70% more damage, right? And the accuracy goes to insane numbers, so they basically will never miss. Even on the bosses, even on evasive monsters, they will never miss. That's why we are using attackers. And this war banner, how do you enable it properly from the passive tree? You need to anoint, or in case you wanna do like a different passive tree, you need to travel down here or anoint symbol of defiance. This will give you 22 maximum valor. Because if you are looking on the war banner says that the aura grants 6% more attack damage per stack, right? So if you have 54, it's a kind of... No, wait. So it's 6% more attack damage, but then you have magnitude. You have magnitude on top of that. And apparently, using this Gemling Legionnaire, you can also get +3 more aura magnitude per valor on top of what you can get from the quality itself, right? So it's from the level. So it's 13% more aura magnitude per valor. This will be 13 times, how many do we have? 54. So this more attack damage will go, I don't know how much is that. We need to do like some calculation, but it's a lot of damage. As you can see, it increases my melee specters and also the sniper's damage to like almost double what is written in there, or even more than double. So that's very nice. And if you add on top of that the pain offering on top of the war banner, the damage will go kind of crazy. For example, on these guys which don't have, these are 50 base spirit cost, so they don't have a lot of, they don't have high numbers on damage. Damage will go something like this with 31k with the pain offering as well. Right, so this is the war banner. And the war banner is pretty easy to use. If you exit the war banner area, it will basically refresh. The cooldown is not that huge, it's 4.6 seconds, so you can basically spam it. I have it on my mouse 4. You can basically spam it as you go and do the maps, right? So this is one piece of the puzzle over here. What enables this build once again, and why it's very nice to have melee specters, range specter as well. Nowadays, like not a long time ago, I started using bone offering as well, and bone offering is very, very good in terms of damage. You can even use more damage from, I don't know, minions damage from here if you want, but I'm pretty satisfied with what I can get on it here. So how bone offering works actually, it will give your minions shield, which will explode when they will get hit. So the fact that my minions jump in, like these guys, jump into the fight, they will get hit pretty fast and the bone offering will explode. This is just some extra damage, but let's see how much damage it is. It doesn't show now, but if we are using bone offering, this is the damage of the explosion. And they have also like it also has like a very high crit chance, so you can potentially use it as it has a 15%, no, where is it? The base is a 15% on the crit. So if you want to do crit build, you can also use crit on the bone offering. And basically you can see these bones around your minions. So what happens is that these guys, the melee guys, will jump in, they will get exploded, and then I can stay in between my archers, and if someone attacks me, the bone explosion will also harm them, and it's kind of very nice to have. So this is basically how the build works, right? And for single target we are using Voltaic Mark with single out, because this will break armor of the enemies. We are dealing a lot of physical damage. We don't need to use vulnerability because of this. Vulnerability is not needed for the general clear. You won't have any problems. Alright, so as we are using Master, we are using Skeletal Warriors, of course. We are using Snipers, Valex Creators, a Storm Mage, which will also shock the enemies with Overcharge. This is very nice. We also use Cursing Current. I think I can do 6 link on it as well. We are using a Porcupine Crab. So, this guy gives us Haste Aura. Haste Aura is very nice because we are using these boots with no movement speed. I'll show you the gear soon. We are using Skeletal Clerics, 2 of them as well, with Second Wind, Arcane Tempo, Last Gasp, Ingenuity. This is very nice to use. It will keep your army alive much longer. We are using the Pain Offering with all of the damage stuff on them, and also Meat Shield and Font of Blood. And on the Bone Offering, we are using the same damage nodes, and yeah, whatever else we could do. We're also using Magnified Effect because this will also increase the area of the explosion that they will do. So, also we are using Reaver, of course, for this guy is mostly used for applying some debuffs like Blind, Maim, and Culling Strike. The other things are not necessary. Yeah. Also, our Bone Offering and Pain Offering will mostly go on the Skeletal Warriors, that's why I summoned 3 of them. So, I did say why I pick up Gemling, because of these points over here that gives you quality and level and so on, and you can get a lot of quality. You can get basically, what is this? 24 quality, right? No, 34 quality. This one brings you to 17 reduced reservation on most of the stuff, and it's very nice because on top of that we are also speccing into Lord of Horrors over here with another 12% reduced reservation. You are also using the Bones of Ruler with 23% reduced reservation. So if we are looking at my costs, are basically for one of these guys that is a base cost 50 spirit, I have to pay 19 spirit. That's why I can get away with such a huge army. And look at the sniper cost, 11 spirit for a sniper. So that's why you can get away with a huge army and not need to have a lot of spirit. Because your armor does not have spirit, it's locked, so basically you cannot get spirit here. Yeah, that's how it works. Let's look slightly a bit over the passive tree just before I get into the itemization. So I travel to here. This is basically, so the start of the build will not be very good for minions because you don't have a whole lot of minion nodes at the beginning. So you will have to pick up basically, I don't know, you can play with the rake or whatever you want. Basically whatever feels normal to you. By only picking up nodes like this, feel free to play. You should gear yourself with whatever gear you have found already or use on Trade League. So we go through here. I'm picking up this one because it's very nice for a 1 point. Is a increased armor and also reduced critical damage bonus against you. This is a very nice point. This is very good. So we are picking this node over here for the magnitude, increased magnitude. This helps a lot with the war banner damage. And the same we go here, we pick up the magnitudes as well. And in this spot we are picking the first minion node. Then we are traveling up here because we want to travel through the jewel slot. We are traveling, we pick up these nodes. The mana nodes you pick up later is not necessary to pick up as soon as possible. So this is basically just a general minion build tree. There's nothing much I can say about it. So obviously you want to pick Lord of Horrors. This is very nice because it also affects your Bone Offering. That's why I'm traveling to get it. I was using Mind Over Matter, but I decided to give up on it because I'm playing with damage taken from mana before life instead. So I'm showing you this one as well. I think I have some jewels that also give me damage from taken from mana before life. I think it's a lot more sustainable because otherwise you will run out of mana pretty fast with Mind Over Matter unless you invest a lot into increased mana regeneration. So down here you're picking up the increased spirit. You don't necessarily need presence of effect because you're not a leech. So you travel through here instead. It's also nice that you can get more stats. You want to pick the entire cluster here, except the increased maximum life over here. You don't need a whole lot of life on the minions. Everything here is nice. Then you travel over here, you are picking up the Chaos Res and the increased damage. This is overall decent because we are not using Brutality. The extra damage as Chaos is okay. And you of course pick up this node over here. It's very nice for your monster sustain and also more life and Chaos Res, right? This is very nice to get for 3 points. You are taking another jewel here. then you can travel over here. I mean, you need to travel over here to get your minions max res to the maximum. And of course you go through these points down here. You don't want the accuracy because it's not needed for you. And you want to pick up the max life from here. You don't need the rest of the points over here, it's not necessary in my opinion. So the resistances is very nice. You want to get your monster resistances to 83%, and you can get to that by picking up this node over here, and I think which one is this one over here as well. You also have one over here which gives you elemental resistances, and I think you need on a jewel to have like minions have extra to all elemental resistances to cap it. Otherwise, if you don't have it on a jewel, you will have to pick up this node over here instead of this, or just pick up both of them, right? Alright, this is the passive tree. It's not very complicated. You have also the option to use Mind Over Matter instead of this part over here, and you still want to pick up this one if you do Mind Over Matter, but to travel to these points. And instead of these 4 points over here, you might invest over here in the mana regen because you're traveling to a minion damage. So it's still doable with that, and I guess it's fine. Other defensive options that you can potentially do if you don't want to use the mana stuff that I'm using over here, you can get some of the blocked nodes like this one over here and maybe this one over here. And then you can get your block a bit higher than what I have here. Alright, let's look a bit on the stats. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of stuff on me, right? It's not the tankiest character, to be honest, and you might die quite often, so it's not really recommended for hardcore. But yeah, these are my stats. I am resistance capped. Lightning could get a bit higher. I can get to 77%, but it is what it is. It's as much as I could do with the items I got on SSF. This character is on SSF, by the way. So let's look a bit at the gear and what you need to get for this build to get going. What is very, very important for minion builds and summoner builds is that you get +2 level of minion skills. That's why my scepter over here has +4 and increased spirit. It took me quite a while to get this one right, even though it, as you can see, it doesn't have any other damage mods on it, so I could get a way better one if I were in Trade League. Unfortunately, this is as much as I could do in SSF. You want the minion skills, you want increased spirit on this, and you want damage, like increased damage or flat damage or so on, something like that. And I'm using the Primate Talisman because it's a very nice all-rounder for the minions. It's similar to the one that Bear Talisman, I think, that gives you flat physical for this build. Right, the helmet is also very important. You want a +2 level for all minions. And you want 2 sockets, because in the sockets you want to place the Talisman of Alakesh, which will further reduce your reservation by 5% for your minions. This is very nice. It also applies to your Tame Beast, because it says minions have 5% reduced reservation. It's not the same as the Lattice Sandals with undead minions. So we have this Lord of Horrors, and this is 22% reduced reservation, so that means your Tamed Beast will not cost as much. Even though, if you look here, it still cost me 60 spirit to get it, right? It's still kinda costly, but it's very much worth it for me, because the haste aura affects all my other minions and me as well. Alright, then we are looking at the chest piece. Of course, we've talked about it before. This is highly necessary for the War Banner, and in case you are playing with attacker minions, I wouldn't recommend other armor piece than this one, because this one is as much damage as 2 support gems, basically. Alright, we are looking at the Ventor's Gamble. I really rolled this one pretty well, I would say. Everything is positive, there's a lot of spirit, there's a lot of life. I kinda like it, it's not bad at all. I also qualified for fire modify, so I can cap my fire res. Then we are looking at the Unsettling. This is kinda horrible, I couldn't find anything better, but it is what it is. This is SSF life. I have the resistances just to get my resistances on par. And on the Amulet, unfortunately, I only have a +2. I didn't find a single amulet with +3 in my SSF journey. So this one is pretty nice because it has also like 55 spirit, right, and a +2. Also the cast speed is not bad and some cold resistance. And of course you want to anoint the symbol of defiance in case you are using this build. Then on the shield you want either armor base or armor energy shield base, and you want it with max elemental resistances. It's always nice to have that, and it's very important to get increased block chance, because increased block chance means more survivability, right? And in case you are also doing your passive tree with block, the more block chance you can get on the shield, the better. Also resistances are very nice and a good spot for your shield. However, there is another unique shield. I don't remember the name right now. Alright, there will be a small cut. We were talking about the shield, of course, we want like a very nice resistances. Then the gloves is once again like a wild card. You can get whatever you want on the gloves. Ideally you want resistances, you want the attributes that you lack, and if you can get life and energy shield, it's nice to have. So yeah, these are not very nice, but whatever I could find. Then we are looking at your belt. You want a belt with 3 charm slots. That's very important. You want life, attributes and resistances. And of course the boots, which are mandatory, I would say, for any minion build, because it has reduced reservation for your minions. You can also corrupt it to get more than 20% reduced reservation. You can get up to 24. Alright, on my charms I'm using the cannot be stunned, I'm using a towering charm for freeze, and I'm using this one for bleed, because it also creates consecrated ground, which also helps my minions. You can swap this one for the ignite one if you want, or the chaos one if you want more chaos resistances, but that's basically it. Also I'm using a flask like this with recovery applied instantly. Is very important and nice. Ideally you want that belt implicit if you can get a belt like that. And on the mana, whatever, I'm using this one, for example. It's not very mana reliant, especially if you're not using the mind over matter. Yeah, I was talking about the shield. The shield that you want to look at is Prism Guardian. It will give you spirit, 1 spirit per 25 maximum life. So if you can stack life, if you're doing like more life on your gear, and you can balance your resistances from other pieces of gear, you can use also Prism Guardian for even more summons and even more spirit on your character. However, I couldn't find that one, so that's the build that I have so far. Alright, so let's showcase just quickly how this build works on a Waystone. I can do like whatever. Let's do this one. Fire 2 additional projectiles. We can go, let's go into Blooming Field. Yeah, let's go into Blooming Field. This one has like a high density, so it will be pretty telling how the build is doing. And we also have a boss fight. You can see the boss fight over there. Okay, now I'm using the Bone Offering. I'm picking up that shield, or no, maybe it's good. I keep on using the Bone Offering as often as I can. I keep on placing the banner as often as I can. Yeah, these guys jump in. Sometimes I will use also Pain Offering. Yeah, this is how the build works. Let's have a look only with the War Banner. Also using Pain Offering. So as you can see in this showcase, this is truly minion build. like a necromancer build. I'm not using any attacks, I'm not pressing a whole lot of buttons. My minions are doing their thing. Yeah, this is a strong box. We're using bone offering. Everything melts. There is a rare monster that does the explosions. Let's deal with it. Where is it? He's gone. Yeah. This is how the build works so far. It's not looking bad. I can open this ritual as well. Placing the banner, using the bone offering, using also pain offering. Why not? Using another bone offering. Ritual is done. Yeah. That was a hair. That was 3 hairs actually. This is a tier 15 map, also on level 80, so it's a 15 plus basically. It has also Crawler's Corruption. We're getting the Shuttling Scepter, why not? I think I'm using the wrong filter, but it's whatever. Let's see the boss fight as well, and I'll close down with the boss fight. So the video won't be too long. I will also showcase what I was able to complete with this build basically. Okay, I got slammed by that thing. Look, 1 million damage like nothing. I didn't even properly use the bone offering there, but I think I will use it here. Okay, let's see him in rage. Bone offering. We're using also voltaic mark on it. Yeah, I think it's already phasing, right? Yeah. That's 3 million damage. By the way, bone offering also has a very high stun. I think it has 100% more. You have to be careful in this arena to send your minions forward, because they will get stuck on the door out if not. Can you guys go? Okay, whatever. Okay, this is kinda over with the bot. Alright, this is the build basically. This is how it clears the maps and bosses on tier 15 plus with kind of, let's say, juiced content. What I could clear with this kind of build, I already did all of the breach stuff. I already, of course, the bosses are done. I already did most of the ritual stuff. I still need to do one more tier. And on the ritual, on the simulacrum, I was able to do simulacrum only with a different spectre. And of course, I did the Arbeiter up to tier 2 plus. Yeah, I still need to do tier 3, right? So the build is kind of capable. I think you can push it even further with a better gear. And this is most likely a build that I will be using in 0.3 in if it's still kind of the same and there's no better options for minion builds. Alright, that's me. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. You will still find the build in the description, like the POB to this one. I will debate into maybe doing a written guide somewhere, or maybe I will just use the notes inside POB for that purpose. Tuditor out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time. Bye bye.